We'll get to Tulsi in a moment. I want to do the matchup of Bernie and RFK. It started yesterday, continued today. It's pretty wild. But you're talking about people who, if they run on something and they actually get in, are they actually going to do anything? That's the question. AOC is a great example, somebody who gets in and does the exact opposite of what she took people's money and votes for. Yeah. Bernie is worse because Bernie ran on the thing and then he caved before he had a chance to get in. He would have gotten in. We all know he would have won in 2016 if he actually pushed his way through and fought against the Democratic machine, or at least called them out and exposed them after they hijacked it. Yeah. But he never did those things. But he talks about healthcare being a human right. How interesting. Let's see him try and get RFK Jr. to say healthcare is a human right. And let's break these down, because you got these two guys who at one point in time, all of us, have been in this populist movement, this champion of both of them at some point, thinking that they were going to take on the system. Let's see how it goes, putting these guys together. Here we go.
You have started a group called the Children's Health Defense. You're the originator. Right now, as I understand it, on their website, they are selling what's called onesies. These are little things, clothing for babies. One of them is titled Unfaxed, Unafraid. Next one, and they're sold for $26 a piece, by the way. Next one is No Vax, No Problem. Now, you're coming before this committee and you say you're pro-vaccine. Just want to ask some questions. And yet your organization is making money selling a child's product to parents for $26, which casts fundamental doubt on the usefulness of vaccines. Can you tell us now that you will, now that you are pro-vaccine, that you're going to have your organization take these products off the market?
Senator, I have no power over that organization. I'm not part of it. I resigned from the board.
Yeah, that was just a few months ago. You founded that. You certainly have power. You can make that call. Are you supportive of this?
I've had nothing to do with
leadership. Are you
leadership.
supportive of these onesies?
I'm supportive of vaccines.
Are you supportive of this clothing, which is militantly anti-vaccine?
I am supportive of vaccines. Right. I will. I want good science, and I want to protect.
But you will not tell the organization you founded not to continue selling that product. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Black. I'm going to back that up with the part with the healthcare. So let's play this one real quick too, and I want to talk about both.
Senator, I can't give you a yes or no answer to that question.
Healthcare a human right? Is healthcare a human right?
In the way that free speech is a human right,
yeah.
I would say it's different, because with free speech doesn't cost anybody anything, but in healthcare, if you smoke cigarettes for 20 years and you get cancer, you are now taking from the pool. Well, and so are you guaranteed the same right, or is there also a duty?
I'm sorry, I'd love to talk for an hour with you. We got a few minutes left here. All right. Every other country on earth says healthcare, whether you're poor or rich, young or old, is a human right. I'm not hearing you say that. All right, you've talked about the drug companies, and maybe we agree.
Okay, so lots to look at there. The healthcare line that we just heard, this is, from my opinion, this is Bernie using the opportunity to try and to expose RFK as somebody who doesn't actually care about healthcare. The problem is that Bernie's is in the minority in that room, because all of his quote unquote friends, Joe Biden is his good friend, Kamala, all these people have caved on this issue and not been about healthcare being a human right. So it's interesting that he chooses now to make a big speech about it to RFK. That's my take on that one. As far as the other one goes, yeah, that was Bernie. I'll score a point for him on the previous one, where he's exposing the RFK. How can you have this company that you started, and then today you're saying you're pro-vaccine, but that company's allowing people to be healthy and have, express themselves on these T-shirts, on these onesies, and say, I'm okay not being vaxxed. So how do you justify that? So I'll give point to Bernie on the first one, but Second one is a draw. I don't think Bernie scored any points because we know that he only says the healthcare line when it's convenient, which is basically every 4 years, and then he shuts up about it. But that we know. So we know that game plan. Your thoughts on both of those clips?
I think I align with you a little bit too as well. I'd say the first one was definitely a win for Bernie. You know what I'm saying? Because he did call who he is. When RFK says I'm pro-vaccine or I'm pro-vaccines, does that align with his previous rhetoric? I mean, he's built a name for being, and then there's like, once again, he has said before in the past that he just wants good science for vaccines, but he knows that the majority of vaccines, especially the ones on the schedule, and he's said this before, he wrote the book, The Real Anthony Fauci, right, are not good, you know. And once again, should be a situation where he should be using this opportunity saying, listen, some vaccines serve a purpose, some do not. And at the very least, we should drop all the qualified immunity for these vaccines, because if they're going to produce a health product, it should be safe and effective. And a lot of times we're seeing that it's not. He's leaving out the fact that he says he wants the real science, and that the real science said a lot of these vaccines are not safe and effective, right? You know, whether you believe in that or not, that's up to you. But there's been a lot of scientists and other people in his circle who have said those things. So I thought that Bernie really called him out right there and exposed him on that more than anything. You know what I'm saying? Oh, but you're good for this here. Because once again, RFK has now been two-faced, where he's gone around and told people in groups and societies and interviews and at Defeat the Mandates and, you know, all these other places that, you know, he's with them and stands with them on what had happened, and how, you know, if you read that book, The Real Anthony Fauci, and you look into it, it just shows you this whole takeover. So now, as far as the first part is concerned, the second video you played, we kind of reverse engineered to play backwards. That is something too as well. I think that I would definitely say it was a missed opportunity. You know, I would have said that RFK should say, listen, I'm with you, Bernie. I understand. I don't want to see so many people dying out there. You know, when people ask me, do I want Medicare for all? I say, no way, but not just because of the system. We don't have a healthcare system. We have a sick care system. And I surely don't want to hand it over to Big Pharma and all these oligarchs who own all these hospitals. And no way. I don't want to do that. But, you know, RFK, you know, he does have a plan where he says he wants to take all the processed foods out of schools. He should have said to Bernie right there, like, Bernie, I want to make sure that everybody, if we can, we don't want to bankrupt a single person on this world, in our country, for needing health care and whatnot. We understand we have an imperfect system, but I want to make sure we're keeping people healthy on the front end. And I am looking forward to sitting down and talking with you on a ways we can find a way to make this happen, where two different parties have two different ideologies, but we can come to some form of agreement and we can take care of more people. And my suggestion is, let's stop them from getting sick, Senator. And I think you should agree.
That would be out. That's how you win that argument. We go to the heart of the problem, the root of it, and we stop them from being sick. And you can use language like, we have an obligation, we have a duty to get health care to people. We have a duty to allow it to be accessible. There's other language you can use without saying, I agree it's a human right, because you know he's going to get, obviously, because he's going to get pushed back from the Trump camp. So that's why he tried to get him on that. But Bernie did not get a point there, because we know his good friend Joe Biden, he never calls him out on it. So come on, dude. Biden said famously, I will veto any healthcare bill that comes, any universal healthcare or Medicare bill on my desk. I will veto it. So don't you pretend that, oh, this is the moment we go for a moral compass here. No way.
Yeah.
There's a follow-up here. This happened today. This is very recent. This just happened today. This is the second day, as you guys know, the second day of the hearings. So Bernie was back in action. RFK was back. And this was probably one of my favorite moments I saw this morning. And it's like a rematch with Bernie and RFK. Watch this, Pasta, and then let's talk about this one real quick, and then we'll get to the Tulsi stuff.
And by the way, Bernie, the problem of corruption is not just in the federal agencies, it's in Congress too. Almost all the members of this panel are accepting, including yourself, are accepting millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry.
And
protecting their interests.
Oh, I thought that would come. No. I ran for president like you. I got millions and millions of contributions. They did not come from the executives, not one nickel of PAC money from the pharmaceutical industry. They came from workers.
In 2020, you were the single largest
because I had
receiver of pharmaceutical money.
from workers all over this country. Workers miss not a nickel from corporate tax.
You were the single largest acceptor of pharmaceutical dollars.
No, from workers in
1.5 million.
Yeah, out of 200 million. All right, but you have not answered. Last question. You have not answered my question.
Wow.
I would really like to see the whole exchange. And to tell you the truth, that is something. Listen, if Leslie wanted to donate to Bernie Sanders at one point because she thought that it was, listen, I can tell you this much from what I'm going through right now. I'm like literally getting texts on the phone from the rehab that my mother's on. And I have this quest I've gone through for the last 3 months. There are amazing people in this industry that work in this industry. Some of the people I've loved the most have been the therapists that are taking care of my mother. And a lot of these therapists, a lot of these workers, a lot of nurses, a lot of people who do the jobs underneath the doctors. I'm going to exclude the doctors from second because, yeah, even doctors probably agree, but they make a lot of money. So let's exclude them for a second. But everybody working under those doctors that really make the hospitals go the way they are, the people who spend the majority of time with the patients, if they want to invest to see a different type of system because they've seen people die because they don't get the insurance they need, or they see people get more sick because they get a claim to stamp no, they have every right to do so. And I think that RFK trying to twist that is bullshit. Once again, RFK should use this moment with Bernie right now to say, let's build a bridge, man. Let's do this. I understand what you're saying, right? But you know, Craig, he's going to went after the attack that you said, by the way, talking about, well, where were you in, holding Joe Biden accountable, right? That would have been more of an attack than saying, okay,
but go back part, with each other. But the money is important. This is what it's all about. This is the entire problem is the money, right? The entire problem is the payouts. It's the revolving doors. We see this. This is the whole problem with the system. It's rigged for the money, the upward transfer of wealth, the revolving door situation. These people like Bernie who pretend, and he tried to do it there. You saw him squirm. He was squirming, and it's the same squirming he did, especially in 2020, because he bent over so far back for the pharmaceutical companies. Craig, he was lying right there. Do you understand? He was lying. This is what we know happened in 2020. Bernie Sanders took more money than any of these people. And Elizabeth Warren is next on that list. This is a donation. Now he can try and pretend, oh, it didn't directly come from the CEO. It didn't directly come. That's what he was trying to do this little thing. But this money is in his bank account for a reason. So he plays the role that he's supposed to play, makes us think that he's taking on Big Pharma, taking on the military industrial complex, taking on blah, 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 blah. He's not taking on shit, and that's something that RFK Jr. hit out of the park in that moment. I agree with you. He should have been better on that healthcare question yesterday. But today, this is what people want to see. And Bernie was squirming right there. He was squirming, and he was lying. And we know that he's lying because he lied to his internal staff at the beginning of the 1920 campaign. He lied to, it was Nick Brana and 16 other associates that were there with him the whole time. And they said, Bernie, we noticed that you're not doing the thing you did last time. You're actually bending up, you're getting money outside of the donations that you're claiming are from the people. We see it, man. You have to stop doing this. And they ultimated him, man. They said, Bernie, if you don't stop taking this money from up here, we're going to walk. And he looked back at them and he said, and this is from Nick Brana, he said, and it was validated by others because there were other people in that room. There were like 16 people in the room at that time. They did an intervention. They did a Bernie intervention. You have to stop taking money from these corporations. Stop it. And if you don't, we're walking. And Bernie said to them, I don't want to be Ralph Nader. And they said, then that's your answer. And they all left. They walked out the effing door. That's what happened.
I don't want to be in the habit. I don't want to be in the habit of sticking up for Bernie Sanders. I definitely think he's a capitulator. But I think when it comes to this situation, I'd like to see, and I'm surely not going to take Nick Brana's word on this, but I surely want to like to see the receipts on where that money is coming from. Like I said, it's very different than a nurse or a RN or, a nurse's assistant or the people who are working in the healthcare industry, the workers of the healthcare industry that understand the system and see it for what it is and donate that money. I just like to see more receipts on that. You know what I'm saying? Again, I don't want to get into the habit of, going after Bernie Sanders. It's a big difference from taking money from workers than it is taking $100 million from Miriam Adelson, for instance.
Right. Okay.
I'm saying huge difference. But I'd like to see the breakdown on that money. And if he did take it from corporations, actually, where the boards are cutting him checks, where executives are cutting him checks, then he should be held accountable and should shut his mouth. I mean, I'm more upset with Bernie, not upset, but more like, Jesus, Bernie, just shut up when he brings the climate change into it, or the pro-choice, pro-life argument, you know what I'm saying? Which, once again, is the argument needs to be unwanted pregnancies, but him bringing climate change into the whole thing was just, come on, Bernie, like, shut the fuck up already. You know what I'm saying? If you were really about climate change and you were concerned about the climate, you'd be concerned about the thing that affects the climate the most from human beings, and that's dropping bombs. You're pro-Ukraine war, for crying out loud. So
Beauty and the Boomer. It's true. Yeah. Go to Open Secrets. Look at.
I understand, but how many people donated that money there? That's a lump sum saying from one industry.
So there was
Bernie is telling the truth where he got a bunch of money from nurses.
He hit it. This is why his people, and I'm only saying Nick Bronick because I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know the names of the other people. But this was validated.
Yeah, but Matt, we should just look for a breakdown. There'll be a breakdown of how many people gave him that money. It's out there somewhere.
He found sneaky ways to hide it in other ways, and and his team found it. They go, dude, you're pretending that your entire campaign is funded by the people. It's not. This $27 is BS, man. And he found another way to launder it to his campain. That's what he did.
I don't want to get in the habit of standing up for Bernie Sanders anymore. Okay. I'm not doing that. But I just like to see a breakdown of that. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
That's all
well,
I'm saying.
Look, we'll follow it up. This is more on level of what we're talking about.
Yeah. I don't condone any money coming from corporations, boards, individuals like Marian Adelson. We understand when you take that money, it's a different thing. You know what I'm saying? He's making the argument that it's coming from nurses and registered nurses and therapists and, those people who do that work that want to see a change. First of all, they shouldn't believe Bernie Sanders is going to make a change anyways, because he's going to always capitulate to power anyways. So it doesn't really make a difference, right? And if you are one of those people, you threw your money away, you might as well just light it on fire, because Bernie Sanders will never stand up to my friend Joe Biden and whatnot. But I mean, it's a big difference if those people are donating the money as opposed to Marian Adelson. That's all I got to say. I don't condone it the other way, but individuals having to play the game. What Bernie Sanders, the $27 an hour a person in the first campaign, that's what I was all about. And I think that went out the window after Philadelphia in 2016,
I'm going to just because Kelly's been on here. Thank you, Kelly's swords. Kelly's words. I will never forget Bernie delegates crying in the bathroom in Philly 2016. This shit is on purpose to kill everyone's hope. Yeah. That was the moment, man. Like I saw that. I watched that. I saw that. That was horrible. That was horrible. If it wasn't on purpose, we didn't know at the time. We thought he was like the victim here, and we needed it. Like, Bernie's gonna come back. He's got it. That was the left. That was our version of 3D, 4D, 5D, 6D chess, right? We thought Bernie was playing that. So now we're seeing the Trumpers have the same excuses now. The 6D chess. We said Bernie has to stay quiet. He can't say anything about Hillary and the DNC. He's figuring out a plan. He's going to come back 4 years later, 2019, 2020. He's going to have a plan for us. Oh no, he's not. Oh, he's saying that Putin is the reason he's number one in the polls, January 2020. Oh, he's saying Joe Biden's my friend. Oh, he's got a plan. No, he doesn't have a plan. That was on purpose. Yeah, everyone crying and being told by Sarah Silverman and Hillary Clinton, shut your mouth. Stop your whining. Stop your crying. So that's. I mean, we know that. Let me
just say this much, Matt.
Yeah.
Throughout this whole process, both people in the room, right? All those people in the room are full of shit. Let's be honest. The person asking the questions, the person answering the questions, and they just proved that everybody. I mean, it's disgusting. The narratives the lawmakers are pushing. And, it was disgusting seeing these people capitulate to them, It doesn't surprise me that Bernie Sanders is going to ask a lot of those questions the way he's going to ask them. We already know he's full of shit. I think the jury wasn't out completely on RFK and Tulsi, and it should be now.